Hi everyone. Today's project is inspired by a Neiman Marcus mirror. It's the Cassandra mirror, which retails for about $395. This is my version of it. Now I started the project with an old mirror I've had for a few years. It's a 24 by 36, and this actually fell off the wall. The frame broke, but the mirror didn't. I'm using vinyl moldings. And this one is what I'm going to put in around the immediate frame of the mirror. You're going to need two of the 96 strips for this. And the second type, you're going to need six of that. Now, the second type I cut in 4-inch pieces using my miter saw. Because of the size of my mirror, I ended up having to cut over 100 pieces. But it wasn't hard because I simply slid the strip of molding along the tape at 4, cut, slip, cut, slip, cut. So the marker is on the miter saw. I'm also using acrylic sheets. I use the 18 by 24.093 and the 0.050. I'm just showing you a side-by-side comparison in terms of the thickness. The 0.093 is at the bottom, the 0.050 is at the top. It was much easier working with the 0.050. For the 0.093, you will need a scoring tool like this. With the 0.050, you can use a regular utility knife. Now, before I started anything at all, after I cut all those 4-inch pieces, I lay the mirror on the floor and kind of lay out the design, just making sure I had everything, correct. The first molding I showed you is what I said I would put around the immediate perimeter of the mirror, and then I put the other pieces, the 4-inch pieces, in 5 rows around the mirror. The Cassandra mirror had 3 rows, but I wanted a much larger mirror, so I made it 5. Now it's at the corners where it gets tricky because every other row has to be mitered at each corner. Now once I'd finished doing that, I sprayed those pieces silver, the 4-inch pieces silver. This is the acrylic strip, the 18 by 24, and I just cut it into 3 pieces of 6 by 18. This is the shorter piece that I put on the short end of the mirror that you see me cutting. You simply score it, then you put it on the edge of, say, a table or a counter and tap it, and it snaps off. It was very difficult doing it with the 0.093, so I wouldn't recommend that. With this project, you can use the 0.050 because the molding, they're very light and it can handle the weight. This is the glue they recommended that I used. This was a waste of time because the following day the acrylic fell off of the mirror. It's a good thing I had it laying on the floor to dry, so I went and got this other glue I showed you just now, the PL530 mirror glue, and that's what I used to glue not only the acrylic onto the mirror at the end, but also the plywood that you will see later on down the road. So that's the mirror with the acrylic around the perimeter. My next step was to glue the frame on. The frame I had sprayed gold, but it looked so flat. I decided to do some gold leafing. Yes, I'm beginning to love gold leaf. I put that on to give it some texture. And then my first row of miter corners, that's what you're going to see now. I also gold leaf those prior to gluing them on. So those are they. And I just use the E6000 glue to glue them at the corner. That's it with them all on the first row of miter corners. And then I just went in and put the 4-inch strips on. Like I mentioned earlier, I had sprayed these silver and I just lay them out. Wasn't difficult at all. Once you get the corners, it's a go. I had them overlapping a bit and I just made sure that every other row the overlap fell right in line with each other because you wanted to have some amount of symmetry. That's it after I had placed everything on. Then my next step was to simply glue those pieces back in place. So I would pick them up out of their spot, glue, put the glue on, put them back right in their spot. Now this step I should have done immediately after I had placed the acrylic onto the back of the mirror. I'm gluing a sheet of plywood onto the mirror because this is where I will have to put the anchors in so I can hang the mirror, of course. I use 1/4 inch plywood. That's it, glued on. It was sitting on the shelf at Home Depot, so it was bowed somewhat. So I had to put these books on to kind of hold it flat onto the mirror. If you notice a strip in the middle there, I wanted to beef up the area that I was going to screw the anchors in to put the wire in to hang the mirror. So I glued another strip of plywood on top of that. So I actually had a 1/2 inch thickness where the anchors were. These are the ones I picked up. That pack was under $4. And of course, the wire, I had that. I generally have stuff left over from other projects that I do. That's just me screwing the anchors in. And that's the mirror, guys. Now I put in anchors on 4 sides so I can hang the mirror both horizontally and vertically. Overall, this project cost me under $60. There are 2 recommendations I will make in case you plan on replicating this project. Please use the .050 acrylic sheets. It is so much easier to work with. And number 2, glue the plywood on at the same time you glue those sheets on. It's going to make your job so much easier and of course make the project fun for you. Thanks for watching. Bye now.